Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Harakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone and Rowell, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of carrying truth. Um, yeah, got this article on the Sun. It's getting into, obviously, it's it's gonna be the new year as far as for the people in the world, and given the current state of things, mainly because of the conflict going on in the state of Israel with Palestine and whatnot, Hamas and all them, man. There is the the expectation that what's the word or anticipation of things going down. So it says, what, Europe on alert for New Year's Eve terror as France deploys 90,000 cops amid very high risk of attacks. I think in the UK as well, they upgraded it a few weeks back. I think to imminent. I believe to imminent, because they said they stopped something as well a few weeks back, so I believe they've gone imminent. So more likely than not, well, France has been the hotspot, but yeah, there's over Europe, there's gonna be a few places where they're kind of looking at it like, something can go down, which very well may. And then what that can mean going forward is could be further restrictions, could be increase in what's going down in the state of Israel. It can mean a few things. We'll have to wait and see, because there's been times where it's kind of hit, and then things crank up. But we'll see. So that says fears of terror attacks over New Year's Eve celebrations have forced officials to ramp up security measures as Europe remains on high alert. France is set to deploy 90,000 cops across the country amid a very high threat due to the ongoing conflict in Gaza. These cops look like the military. I think, yeah, it's soldiers, because man's got the FAMAS. 5,000 soldiers will also be deployed amid fears of potential attack in France. So yeah, the troops are out again, and that's the thing is like, even with that, that's something that over time has become more and more normalized. Because the last time it cranked up, then it was like, I remember you'll see videos of just soldiers in France. You had like snipers in Belgium and whatnot, just kind of there, keeping an eye out on the general public. So it's like completely what's the word? Not thingying. It would be normalizing that, just getting used to seeing police like that, seeing the military like that, and having them there. That's become the most normal thing. Because even over here, it's like certain stations, like train stations, you go to them, and there's like armed police, gun police there on a regular, like it's normal. And over here, like, you don't even have gun police outside of those stations, and outside of particular incidents, you do not have gun police at all. It's like you very rarely will see gun police. But going to a bunch of these stations, is pretty much every time you go there, they're gonna be there. So it's that normalization over time, to where, because I remember it was the first few times they were coming out, it was a bit like, yo, these men are like, what's going on? But now it's the most normal thing. So I said, a total of 6,000 will be in Paris, where French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said over 1.5 million people are expected to attend celebrations on the Champs-Élysées, however you pronounce that. Speaking at a press conference, Darmanin said, I requested an extremely strong mobilization of the police and gendarmerie services in a context of a very high threat. He said that cops will be able to use drones for the first time as part of security work, and that tens of thousands of firefighters and 5,000 soldiers would also be deployed. In the Paris metropolitan area, 2 helicopters would be deployed above the neighborhoods. New Year's Eve celebrations in Paris will center on the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, including DJ sets, fireworks, and video projections on the Arc de Triomphe. The need to tighten security ahead of the Olympics was highlighted when a 24-year-old tourist was stabbed to death by a supporter earlier this month. So yeah, it's already back for them, man, and that's why, again, even over here, even other parts of the world, it can easily, something can pop off to where it will then just be like, okay, the dial gets turned up a notch. Because like when it went to imminent before, like there'll be a lot of police just around, like gun police around, like in places, because there was, like I said, those stations where now it's just normal, but there were other stations as well before. You'd see them on the road. And then that just impacts the mindset, man. Because then it's just like people expecting like, oh, okay, so this is just what it's going to be. Okay, so we'll say Germany's authorities barred sightseeing visits to Cologne's landmark cathedral on Christmas Eve, and worshippers faced security checks amid growing threats. Police said they were taking precautions, even though the information they had was for an attack on New Year's Eve. Police spokesperson Wolfgang Baldes said even if the reference was to New Year's Eve, there are a lot of people in the area around the cathedral today. Today's Christmas Eve. Midnight Mass is one of the most visited cathedrals. The main train station is nearby. So yeah, Germany's thinking about, or say Austria said they've increased security around Vienna's churches and Christmas markets, while Sweden has remained on high alert since summer. Yeah, so that's it's as far as what 7 suspected. Said they'll be acting in Hamas's name and arrested during raids. Yeah, because so-called people have been getting nabbed up. Everything's cranked back up, and it's during this kind of atmosphere, laws will get passed, and there's a lot that can be done with it, and it impacts like the mindset of the people, because then it's just like whatever needs to be done, to bring it to an end, people will comply, because again, the priority for them is that pride of life, being able to go out, enjoy themselves, and do it, do what they've been doing. That's as far as they're concerned, their main objective. They're just thinking like, yo, I've got a life to live out here. What's going on? Like, deal with the thing. Yeah. I'll read this. Ephesians 5 and 15, it says, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. And yeah, that's basically how we have to be, looking at these things. It's like there's people where their only goal with New Year's Eve, they're thinking about, yo, I need to go out and rave up, need to get, the ultimate bliss. There's people where it's like they might have been planning that for like the last 2 months, like, okay, we're gonna go this. There's people, a lot of people will go overseas, they're thinking about, they're like, I wanna do New Year's Eve in Germany, I wanna do New Year's Eve in New York, I wanna do New Year, they're thinking of how much bliss they're gonna extract from it. But then, they're not redeeming the times, man. They're not thinking like, yo, what's going on here? They're not piecing it together, because that's really, when you're in the midst of it, you need to be doing. Because you could just get caught out there. It's like, like I remember my old landlady. It's like she was in in Egypt when the lockdown started, and then she was stuck there for like 2 months or something. Like she was just stuck there. She was having to pay for like a hotel, like paying an arm and a leg to stay in a hotel. Um, meanwhile she owned multiple properties in the UK, and then but she couldn't get back to them for shit because they weren't letting her letting her leave, man. She got caught the fuck out there, and that's because why? And it's funny because that was something that had a long lead up, man. It was from C19 was from like November, December 2019. It kind of was spreading by like December, January. It was like, oh, this is a thing. That's when it started going more mainstream. Then like February it started going international, or at least people started paying attention. It was like, oh, this shit's everywhere. It's like, oh, okay, let's just lock everything down. It was just like, huh? And those people looking to skedaddle back home as quick as possible, and there's other that didn't, and they were just like, yo, this peak, you fucked. Um, so what's it? First Thessalonians 5:2 says, "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober." And yeah, that's the mindset. That's the view as far as for a man in the truth is watching, being sober. Paying attention to these things, piecing it together, because it's why. The reason why this is even a focus is because of what's going down, in Gaza and whatnot. These things have now spread, and it's similar as well. There's knock-on effects from various things that have happened to where you'd be like, okay, you have to pay attention, because it was like with what was it, Russia and Ukraine, with the impact that had on grain, on wheat, on bread, etc. Those the impact was had. So it's like, if ahead of time, if you saw it rumbling, and was just like, okay, let me just grab up some pasta, grab up some this, grab up some that in advance to kind of have a few things. It impact you less, and that's been part of the viewpoint anyway, to kind of be like, yo, give weight to what you see coming. That's the main thing. That's the main thing for like the people in the world. It has no realistic bearing for them. They're just thinking like, yo, things are gonna continue as they are. They're gonna be at ease, peace. Like it's not gonna hit them like that. It's as far as for them, that's how they're viewing it. And it shall say peace and safety. Okay. But yeah, 2 Timothy 3:13. Also from 12, it says, "Yea, and all that will live godly in Yahweh Shai shall suffer persecution, But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learnt and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learnt them. And yeah, we've basically been given the keys, we've been given the means through that wisdom, through that the mercy, the gift of faith, the gift of wisdom, been given the means to discern the time, to discern, what's going on, to break it down, to understand it. And that's essentially, our fortress. That's where our strength lies, as far as us, because when it comes to these things coming to pass, as it's written, there'll be those that will, they'll be beheaded for Yahweh Shai, for the witness of Yahweh Shai. There's those that they'll be able to endure through, man. There's those that will be exalted, as these things go down. So it's a matter of we know what's coming, and then it's basic to keep that at the forefront of your mind, man, and the forefront, and in what you're doing. That's what you're acting, acting with in mind, man. And that's really what having access to that, having those channels, then it's you should already know, man. Like, these things are a reality for you, because we have faith, because we can see the kingdom to come. We see like, oh, okay, oh, this place can go down. There's people you talk to where it's like, if you're to mention, America's gonna be destroyed, their eyes are gonna turn into like, their eyes are gonna inflate, man, and pop. They're gonna be like, what? Nah. But then, as far as for us, we've seen it through faith, evidence of things hoped for, man. That's essentially what, we can see it. These things are most certainly coming to pass, but people in the world, they're not trying to see it for shit. But okay. So Matthew 24, verse 9, it says, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." So yeah, as far as us, we're gonna be hated of nations, because it's the same thing that happened to Yahweh Shai. Wherever Yahweh Shai went, it was met with derision, man. With those few that knew him, that were like, oh, okay, yeah, oh, you're the anointed. Like they knew, like, okay, this is who I need to follow. But then the greater amount was, and as far as for with the government at the time within Judea, they were all against Yahweh Shai, man. They were not looking to comply, and it's gonna be the same thing now, where those in power are not gonna look to comply. They're thinking like, yo, just as with Yahweh Shai, they want to put us to death. That's why some are gonna have to taste it, because servant's not greater than his master. We're basically gonna endure through those same hells. But in general anyway, all these within the world, all these nations are gonna be flipping and turning on one another, man. All these nations are gonna be completely switching up the so-called current order of how the world runs. That's all gonna go in the bin. And even with America right now, America is at the top. A key part is what these nations flipping and then dashing nukes. America, that's what's gonna go down. So all this current paradigm is that thing's coming to an end, man. Which is why it's like, these things they're looking at, these are like all essentially, the birth pains of these things coming to pass, man. All these prophecies are there, and now you're seeing all the signs basically coming together of like, yo, that's getting ready to pass. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And yeah, as far as the man that knows this truth, knows this word, is about enduring, making yourself hard, on to the end, man. On to what's gonna go down, and then continuing in what you've known, man. Which is why, if these things go down, when these things happen, we don't get, we're not gonna get, you get talk to people in the world, they'll be like, oh shit, be on edge. I'll be like, yo, we'll as far as us, we'll take that as motivation, because it's more evidence of what everything's wrapping up, man. Which means our kingdom's that much closer. So yeah, I'll leave you there. Shalom, shalom. Yabashim Shabashim Kakadash Bakta. Shalom.